Whoever created this monster deserves a standing ovation. This is Ultimate King of Thieves, Kotis the Fangkeeper, and here is my ultimate guide I came up with so far. Video have chapters, so if you want to just find a certain information, feel free to just go for it. Other than that, just enjoy the video. The structure of the video is very simple. We're going to talk about his abilities, why the colors matters, his downsides and counter strategies, but also the strategy I have chosen for my personal deck, both for Commander and MTG Arena, as well as just a deck structure, the cards I use, and potential replacements if you want. At the end, I will show you some fun cards with Yolo damage that you can put inside to make your commander way stronger than you're supposed to be, and then also some arena build so you can play online with your friends. Remember, the more I will play with this deck, the more adjustments I will make, so if you have any input and any cards that you think they will be valuable, just leave the comment below and I will really appreciate your feedback. Why, in my opinion, Kotis is the king of thieves? First of all, paying 4 mana for 2/1 indestructible body that can defend you from death touch or double strike is incredibly strong. What makes him so special is his ability. It's like villainous wealth on legs and steroids. You can use it every single turn. When you deal combat damage to a player, you exile that many cards from the library and you can cast any number of spells with mana value equal to that damage for free, including instants and sorceries. Let that sink in. If you hit someone for 5 damage, you could potentially cast 5 spells from their library in just one attack. You can't play lands or X spells, but you can cast instant and sorceries, meaning you can steal things like Rampant Growth, Smoothering Tithe, or even Soul Ring. All you really need is Evasion, which is like unblockable, like flying, a bit of Pump to boost his damage to, being able to cast the spells, and protections like Hexproof or counter spells to keep him alive. Which brings us to point number 2, why colors matter. Because what truly makes Kotis the king is color identity. He's missing white and red, but he doesn't need them. White, he's already indestructible, already built in. Red, you can easily make him deadly with equipment, you don't really need extra damage from red. So instead, he has exactly what he needs. Green for ramp, cast him early and recast him if the table turns on you, which probably going to happen. Blue for protection and counter spells, and black for recursion and disruption. Before we go into the full deck breakdown, leave a comment with any cool card ideas you think I missed. Let's make the strongest Kotis deck possible together. This wouldn't be an ultimate guide without downsides and counter strategies. So looking at Kotis abilities, one of the most efficient strategies you can build him is a Voltron, since what you steal depends on how much damage he deals and whenever he can get through or not. In order to build a strong deck, you need to know the downsides and also counter strategies for your commander. As Kotis is more likely a Voltron, it's very easily to disrupt his abilities by just removing him from battlefield. So if you know how you can remove him, then it's easier for you to plan and establish how you can keep him alive. Here is a few things you need to have in mind when building Kotis. His abilities doesn't allow you to play lands or X spells. 21 commander damage is lethal, so going all in one big swing is like a double-edged sword. You instantly become a threat, and facing a 3 versus 1 without proper setup is rough. Plus, if you're too much of a pain early on from the start, and your chance of having a good time will drop fast. Following point 2, if a player dies, you need to return all permanents you stole from him or her that could make you weak, so just have it in mind. Next, we need to know Kotis' weaknesses, so how we can counter him. Number 1. Although he is indestructible, there are some ways to go around it. Exile is the best examples. Nowadays there's more and more spells with exile rather than destroy, meaning that more people are putting them into their decks to deal with the issues like him. Apart from exile, -1/1 counters are extremely effective against Kotis because his toughness is only 1. At first, he might be helpless against spells like Tragic Sleep. That's why we need Hexproof so much. Although Toxic Deluge can get around Hexproof easily, but then you can still have some counter spells to go around Toxic Deluge. Sacrificing permanents or creatures is also his big problem, especially at the beginning, because you didn't have time to steal anyone else's creatures. We might not be the only player who is using blue, so we need to be aware that some people might have a counter spell to mess with our plans, but also they might have the cards that return something to our hand like a creature, and then if you're going to have auras attached to it, the auras will go into the graveyard. Most people don't realize it, but letting other players copy him can become a serious problem, because if someone's deck can stack counters on him or cast massive spells, things can get spiral out of control really fast. Getting hit by those versions of him can be devastating, especially since your deck likely has a low mana curve, making it easy for them to steal a lot of power from you. Also be aware that putting auras like Imprisoned by the Moon or Kenrith's Transformation are also a way to stop him, so having enchantment removal or two is a good thing. The last thing I come up with is Shadow Spear and its ability to remove indestructible from your commander. Also cards like Spectacular Pileup, which is board wipe white, that not only destroy the creatures but also remove the indestructibility before that, so then you're getting removed. The strongest spells against him in my opinion is Fractured Identity, because this 5 mana spell, white and blue, not only exile the Kotis from the battlefield, but also make everyone else make a copy of him and put him on the battlefield under their control. In terms of Arena, there's alchemy cards that surprised me when somebody placed against me called House Meld. This 4 mana blue sorcery not only exile target creature, but also hijack it, and it becomes enchantment that they control. So now you need to have an exile enchantment to get your commander back. Ouch. Let's talk about strategies. There's a lot of ways how you can build him, even if you choose just a Voltron style. For starters, we can have counters based strategy, when you put as many counters as you can just to make him strong. Number 2, we have auras. Putting strong auras, including flying, trample, unblockable, can boost him up a lot with a little effort. The only downside is that when the commander is gone, the auras are gone as well. Third, we have equipments, powerful swords like Sword of the Animist or Feast and Famine, and other pieces of equipment that make it Death Touch, unblockable, and so on. Point number 4, we have casting instants or sorceries that surprisingly boost him up by giving him +3/3, +4/4, and trample. Point number 5 is force blocks. There are certain auras or creatures that each creature needs to block them, so then you have a clear path with Kotis to go for and deals combat damage without needing unblockable. Point number 6, we have trample Death Touch combo. So you assign 1 damage to kill the creature and then trample the rest and deal combat damage to steal as many cards as you can. Point number 7, we have double strike. To activate the effect of Kotis twice, so if you deal 4 combat damage to a player, you instead deal 8, therefore you exile 2 times 4 cards so you can play and steal more stuff. The only downside is that if you have double strike, your commander is first to target for sure. Number 8 is blinking him to protect him when somebody is trying to exile him. Number 9, we have a different fight spells or auras, allowing him to destroy blocking creatures before combat damage, leading us the clear path to deal combat damage to the player. Number 10, we can copy Kotis and create small army of him being unstoppable using cards like Helm of the Host, Spike Double, or Sakashima of the Thousand Faces. Number 11, we can use Myriad with the Blade of Selves, however, the strength of this effect will be only 2, so it's not that strong. We can also have our strategy based on stealing other creatures before combat, so then we have a clear path. Next, if you don't really want to have any friends or you want to lose all of your friends, just pack your deck with 10 different destroy spells, killing everyone else apart from Kotis, so then you have easy access to the combat damage. Second to last, you can tap other creatures or return them to their owner's hand, giving you the clear path with Kotis. The last thing I can come up with is Shinigans with Mutate, but I don't really understand it, so I will skip it and let somebody else who knows it better explain and talk about it. Also, have in mind that when I play Magic, my goal is to make the worst shit I can, but also allow other people to play and have a chance to stop me. That's why you won't see any tutors in my deck, as I don't want to win all the time. My goal is to steal the most shit, not to win. So my strategy is all about having balance between protection, evasion, and pump, using copy abilities not to damage my opponents too much, but trying to keep Kotis' strength at 5 to 6 if possible. Maybe then later in the game make him stronger, but at first just give yourself a bit of boost and a bit of stealing, but not too much to make everyone mad as hell. So how my deck structure look like? Well, we have our Kotis as a commander, then we have 38 lands, 19 artifacts, 16 creatures, 13 enchantments, 9 instants, 3 sorceries, and 1 planeswalker. This is only a suggestion, and obviously feel free to just get inspired and create your own unique way. And please leave the comments with your ideas and cards you think I might have missed. If you like this video, also consider to leave a like and subscribe to help me become famous and achieve my dream of playing with Brian Kibler and Josh Lee Kwai. Alright, let's go into what Tiger liked the most, in-depth analyze. So, the most important thing is to abuse Kotis abilities, and we have basically 3 different options here. We can either copy him and try to hit more players with more copies using cards such as I said before, Spark Double, Sakashima of Thousand Faces, Helm of the Host, and so on. We can also give him a lot of double strike equipment to activate his ability twice, such as Leyline of Axe, Fire Striker, or Brass Knuckles. The only problem with that, as I said before, is that if you have double strike, everyone targets you instantly. And the third one, the way I'm using, is using copy abilities cards like Felix 5-Boot, Stronic Resonator, Roaming Throne, or Phyrexian Metamorph. So reason behind it all, reason behind my choice, is that the copies seems like a lot of work and it will be difficult to equip them all to go through. Double strike will be instantly targeted by players who don't want to die, and it's too easy to kill somebody with commander damage as well. However, I see a benefit of hitting somebody twice with 9 or 10 strength Kotis and combine the copying effect of like Roaming Throne and double activation of his passive, meaning you'll be able to exile 4 times 10 cards and being able to play half of somebody's deck for free. But again, it's too close, win the game too fast, too many triggers, and it's just overwhelming. I'm trying to avoid spending 45 minutes on my turn explaining to everyone why they are fucked and how I'm going to stab them in their eyes. That's why I believe copying his abilities without being so invasive like above allows you to enjoy stealing more shit without upsetting people even more than it need to be done. Now, understand that all I'm saying is based on commander mode, and in arena there is no mercy, and I encourage you to deal with those people with the most nasty way possible, as they won't have mercy on you, trust me. Once we abused our commander abilities, now we need to make sure that we are going to be able to land combat damage on our opponents to trigger. There is a lot of options available for us, that's why I try to keep it a mix of artifacts and auras, and I also try to focus on cards that not only give you unblockable, but also either making him a bit stronger or give some other advantages like effects or draws cards. My choices are: number 1, Brotherhood Regalia. This is the only unblockable artifact that have no effects, but being able to cast it on a second turn and equip it for only 1 is good enough for me to put it on the list. Number 2, we have Demonic Embrace, and I just love this card. The disadvantage might be 2 swamps needed to cast it, but if you have your lands right, it's just a piece of cake. And just 1 aura make Kotis go to strength 5, which allows you to play more cards, but also give him Evasion, which is flying, and there will be always 1 player without any flyers or reach. Additionally, you can recast it from graveyard, and that comes handy. Number 3, Favor of the Overbeing. It's a cheap aura that gives you pump, +2/+2 and vigilance, but also give you flying, so it's helpful to being able to block other creatures as well. Number 4, my favorite aura in the world, Indomitable Might. Make Kotis strength 5 and allows you to assign combat damage as though it weren't blocked, meaning you can slap your friends left and right, and if they don't have any removal, there's nothing they can do. Number 5, we have Mask of Riddles. It can be blocked only by black creatures or artifact creatures, but also allow you to draw cards, which is a nice addition if you need extra card draw. Same goes for Sleeper's Drop, which is aura, doing the same. However, the only downfall is that when it's gone, it's gone. Number 7, we have Security Bypass, which is aura that gives unblockable, but also connives, which can help you with your deck manipulation and making Kotis stronger at the same time. Number 8, Wing Boots. Flying and ward free. For just 3 mana is a no-brainer here. Number 9, we have Swords of Feast and Famines to pump our creatures to strength 4 and untapping all lands. But what's important is protection from black and green allows you to go where you need to go. And last one, number 10, we have a Sword of Light and Shadow. It gives us +2/2, but this time it gives us protection from white and black. And on top of that, you can gain free life and return creature card to your hand from graveyard. Like you can use auras. There is definitely a way more good options for people who just want to go through. Blue have a lot of cards depending on how much mana and what effects do you want. You know, Ether Tunnel, One with the Wind, Clock of Invisibility, and so on. If you want to go more into artifacts, there's definitely good choice of Triblazer Shoes that give you non-basic land walk. There's a Commander Play that gives you protection from white and red. There's Gisa Favorite Shovel, and I must say this is a very versatile card and I definitely would like to give it a try. It's not only giving you a pump, it gives you also menace, which is harder to block, but also makes people sacrificing their shit and create you a token which is 2/2 zombie. Masterwork of Ingenuity can be surprisingly useful. If someone's running a similar playstyle, copying their sword or unblockable equipment can be great. The last one is a Prowler's Helm, which is also unblockable because who have wolves in their deck. If you want to go counter strategy, there is a Bristly, Hollow Mog Siege, and Forgotten Ancient, which is a decent choice, or cards like the 13 Doctor, Power Fist, or Blade of the Blood Chief. In terms of instants and sorceries, we've got cards like Overprotect, Scale Up, Bestow Greatness, Arcane Archery, Awaken the Bear, and Berserk. If you want to play with cards around force to blocks, I recommend you a mix of creatures, auras, and instants such as Taunting Elf, Shine of Life's Roar, Seton's Desire, and Lair. If you're a fan of Trample Death Touch combo, Garruk's Uprising plus Basilisk Color, Shadow Spear plus Zareth, and Nilea God of the Hunt plus Baal of Nalaya is a decent combination. If you like fight spells and auras, cards like Cartouche of Strength, Warbriar Blessing, Fight the Fight, Duel of Dominance, and Fury, and Hunt the Hunter is a good choice. Next, we want to pump our commanders up. Ideally for me is him to have strength 5-6 at first hit. Number 1, we got Champion's Helm, which gives you boost of +2/+2, but also additionally it gives you a hexproof, and we like that. Number 2, we've got Dragonfire's Blade, which gives you +2/2 and hexproof from monocolored, and equipped cost is just 1, which is nice. Number 3, Elbrus the Binding Blade is the only YOLO equipment in this deck, and I just love the idea of flipping him and distract my opponents from Kotis. If you see a flipped equipment, suddenly it become Demon, which is flying, Intimidate, Trample, it's 13/13, and then whenever somebody dies you get another 13/13 counters. It instantly focuses them on this creature rather than on Kotis, which I like. Number 4, we've got Inquisitor Flail, and that's no brainer. Anything that doubles the damage is just way too OP and it's not that expensive, and the effect that destroy our creatures does not apply to us because we've got Indestructible, which is nice. Next, we have two equipments that we already spoke about, which is Swords of Feast and Famine and Swords of Light and Shadow, so we're not going to discuss it a bit more. It just gives you +2/2, it's a bit extra. Point number 7, we have another sword that we have never spoken about, is Swords of Wealth and Power. And apart from Giza's Shovel, this is probably the most versatile piece of equipment I have ever seen. Not only it pumps you by 2, but also give you a hexproof from instant and sorceries. If that's not enough, when you deal combat damage to a player, you will create a treasure token, so you're actively ramping. But what makes it the most OP is the fact that you can copy your next spell. So, if you happen to have Villainous Wealth, that's sweet. However, if you don't worry, because you can always cast your next spell, and by Kotis you will steal other spells. So you might have 2 Rampant Groves or 2 Path to Exiles, and that sounds good to me. Point number 8, we've got Tarian's Soul's Cleaver. It's just also must-have equipment because vigilance is important for us to block other creatures, but also it's really cool to punish everyone who are using treasure tokens, sacrifice their creatures, or just, have a good fun after board wipe. Number 10, 11, and 12 is the auras we spoke about, which is Demonic Embrace, Favor, and Indomitable Might. The last one, number 12, we've got Strong Back, and this aura is incredible because it makes equip cost 3 less, the same as aura to cast cost 3 less, but also it gives you +2/2 for each aura or equipment attached to it, make Kotis really strong really fast. What are my other recommendations and cards I had to leave in my maybe boat with sadness in my heart? Well, in terms of auras, we have Bear Umbra that gives you +2/2 but also untap all lands you control, and that's a bit soul crushing, but hey, we have enough ramp. Number 2, we've got Lion Umbra, and that's one of my favorites, giving you +3/3 Vigilance and Reach. However, it's not enough to be in my deck. Number 3, we've got Aura Monster Guide, give you +2/2 and Vigilance, which is nice. Number 4, Hydra's Growth, giving you +1/1, and every turn doubling up is, getting out of control very quickly. Number 5, we've got Well Rested Aura that gives you 2 +1/1 counters. You gain 2 life and draw a card whenever your creature untapped, which is nice. And number 6, for just 1 mana, we got Predatory Hunger, which make this creature strong very quick. In terms of equipment, any sword really really, as long as give it +2/2 and some kind of protection is sick, like Sword of Sinew and Steel, Forge and Frontier, Fire and Ice, and so on. In terms of other interesting equipments, we've got Umezawa's Jite, and that could be an interesting way of removing creatures or pumping it up, especially if they have indestructible, because you can just -1/1 them if you want to. We have Shadow Spear, which I know it's a bugger, but hey, trample lifelink +1/1, losing indestructible. Sounds good, but hey, it's not in my deck, sorry. Loxodon Warhammer, +for-free, trample lifelink, sounds good to me. Leering Emblem, and this one is interesting because you can cast a lot of spell with Kotis, especially if you ramp hard enough. You can even make him stronger, but 5 times, so like 8 to 10 damage per turn, which is decent. Number 5, you got Hero's Blade, which is fantastic equipment that only for 2 mana give you +3/+2 instantly attached to legendary creature. I like that. And number 6, we got Bone Sabres, giving you +4/4 counters each time you attack, which is like insane. Come on. In terms of protection, there's a lot of ways how you can get around it, and as you notice, a lot of my equipment have hexproof or protection from certain colors, but on top of that there are a few cards that are worth mentioning. Number 1, we got counter spells, and in this instance I have 3 counter spells in my deck: Arcane Denial, Counter Spell, and Negate. I refuse to put Fierce Guardianship or any more, just not to be a dick, but you can always pack yourself with 10 protection spells and be happy about it all. Number 2, you got Swift Foot Boots, obviously, why not? Number 3, we got interesting creature called Slippery Bugbonder. It's a creature with flash that gives you a hexproof counter, so having hexproof counter on Kotis is interesting way of giving him even more protection, because you can't really remove it unless you sacrifice it. Number 4, it's an instant Sleep Out the Back, which phase your creature out, so if somebody try to exile it, it's no longer there. And number 5, we got my favorite Propaganda, which, pay taxes if you want to attack me, deal with my board present, or just attack somebody else. Number 6, No Mercy. Attack me and your creatures are dead. Either way, I'm fine. Or maybe attack somebody else. In terms of other cards, we've got Asceticism, giving hexproof to all your creatures. Bread, which is kind of like a second version of No Mercy, but as a creature. We've got interesting Pariah's Shield, which is funny way of not taking any damage with your indestructible, because everything is attacked to your face is going to be dealt Kotis, which is indestructible, so hey, good luck. And number 4 is Silent Arbiter. Only one creature can attack each combat, which is decent, and potentially you can also add some crawl space, so that means only 2 creatures can attack you. Now let's go for ramp. And there's a lot of option with green, but first we've got obviously Sol Ring, which is classic, Arcane Signet, which is a decent start, but also we've got Burgeoning, and I don't have to explain to you, I think, how broken it is. Every single time somebody play a land, you can play a land, like, yeah, sure, by 10-2 I have 4 lands, please. Number 4 is interesting enchantment called Carpet of Flowers. It's interesting because not everyone like it, however, as I play with a lot of blue players in my group, I feel like this is going to be nice addition to give me extra mana without being really so annoying, so people will target it, if that makes sense. Next, we have a few cards that allows us to play additional lands on our turn, like Exploration, Azusa, Dryad, which is also color fix, which is nice, Oracle of Muldaya, which is extra land, but we also can play from the top of the library, which is decent. And the last one, we have Nature's Wheel, which is a good interruption to blue players as well as extra untapping lands. So we hit blue player, we tap all their lands, untap all our lands, we can cast more things. Notice we don't really need to ramp that much because a lot of players already ramping through artifacts or spells like Rampant Growth, so you can just steal them if you want to. However, other options we have is a classic ramp, Rampant Growth, Free Visits, Nature's Lore, Utopia Sprawl, Fertile Ground, Beds of Paradise, Elnor Elves, and so on and so on. We've got Kodama of the West Tree, so Trample plus looking for basic land card seems decent option. We got a very interesting card called Mark of Sakiko, so whenever you deal combat damage to a player, you add that many additional green cards, which is underrated in my opinion. We've got Lotus Cobra because we're going to play a lot of lands, we're gonna have extra energy. And the last one is Sanctum Weaver because eventually we will be running a lot of enchantments, so tapping for each enchantment we control is a decent option. Let's go to draws, and there is so many options. I was really struggling to fit everything. The 9 draw spells I chosen is this. 1. By far the best card to draw cards is Guardian Project, because we're going to steal a lot of creatures from other players, and then every single time we're going to cast a creature, if it's shit creature, we're going to draw a card which is going to help us find the answers. Number 2, we've got Beast Whisperer and work the same as Guardian Project. Number 3, we've got Toski, Bearer of Secret, because having more indestructible creatures, it's a good alternative, especially if they remove your commanders a couple of times, so you can then make Toski a bit stronger and, you know, create a bit of pressure and also a bit of card draw. Number 4 is a new interesting card called Running Rhetoric, and it's very fun because whenever somebody attacks you, you exile the top card of the library and you can play it as long as you remain exiled, which is interesting play because you can use any mana, so you don't really care. Next we have new interesting equipment called the Key to the Vault. Imagine you deal 5 combat damage to a player. Then you will look at top 5 cards of your library, then you choose one that you're going to exile and you can cast it for free, and you put the rest on the bottom of the library. That is great deck manipulation. Number 6, to no surprise, you got Villainous Wealth, and don't judge me, you just have to be there, you know, especially with the Sword of Light and Shadow, come on, just cool thing to do. Free Kotis trigger, depends on how much mana you have. Yeah, we're gonna take that. Number 7, we've got Xanatar, and I know it's expensive, but I just love it. It's just fun being able to play from other players top of library, you know. And the last 2 is the aura and equipment I mentioned, that when we deal combat damage to a player, we draw a card. However, interesting options we have, the one that I had to unluckily let go of my deck, which is Agent of Treachery. It's very expensive, but it's cool because it's not only steal other permanent that you don't control, but also it allows you to draw 3 cards on your end step if you control 3 or more permanents, which you going definitely have. Number 2 is very underrated. It's a Season of Growth. It's underrated because it allows you to scry 1, which is deck manipulation. You can put the card on the bottom, and that itself is a lot because sometimes you just don't need that land, and you will be able to constantly move things around to, you know, find the answer that you really need. Number 3, we've got Mystic Remora, and I don't really have to explain why is it so good. It just makes sense. You just cast it for 1 or 2 turns and you're gonna draw a lot of cards. Slot number 4 is obviously Ristic Study, because why not? It's just very strong card. I just don't really like to really use it, so I'm not. But also point number 5, you got very interesting alternative for the Ristic Study, which if you don't really have money to buy it because it's quite expensive card, the Insight I believe is really underrated because you can find a green players in your playgroup pretty much every single time, and then whenever he casts any green spell, you draw a card, and you'll be surprised how many spells the green player can cast, and you can sneakily draw a lot of cards, and people won't be really affected by it because they don't have to pay it, so they really kind of like forget about it, and it's not going to be their priority to remove it. And number 6 is a new artifact, and I really want to try it, but it's kind of expensive at the moment. It's called Robe of the Archmagi, but if you deal combat damage to a player, let's say you deal 5 combat damage, you draw 5 cards. I mean, it's decent, come on. Every turn drawing 5 to 6 cards, that's a lot. I don't really feel like this deck needs a lot of recursion, you know, in play. However, I do have Reanimate just in case if I have some OP creature in the graveyard that I want to use. And also being able to use Sword of Light and Shadow is kind of decent because if you play your Azusa and she's been removed straight away, you can always bring her back and just play additional lands, and more likely towards the end of the game you will have more cards in your hand, so why not? Now let's go to fun options, the one that steals and that makes me happy. Number 1, we've got Wrath. So all attacking creatures have Death Touch, but also whenever you deal combat damage to a player, you create a treasure and then you exile the top card of their library and you can cast it. We have Gonti Night Minister. He has a sneaky value because he gives anyone who attacks your opponents a treasure token, which encourages them to leave you alone and attack everyone else. And on top of that, whenever somebody deals combat damage to your opponent, they exile the top card of your library and they can play it for free, including you. Next, we've got Grima Saruman's Footman, and oh boy, this one is a nasty creature. He's unblockable, and when he deals combat damage to a player, you exile cards from the top of their library until you hit instant or sorcery and you can play it for free. Last one, we've got Brain Stealer Dragon. A bastard creature that at your end step, each player exile top card of their library and you can play it, and when you do, they lose life equal to its mana value. Cool and fun alternatives you can play is creature called Cold-Eyed Selkie. Have an island walk, and when you deal combat damage to your player, you draw that many cards. Next we have Doughty Voidwalker, creature with shadow which is unblockable. If a card will be put into an opponent's graveyard, we exile it instead, and we can choose one of those cards. We can sacrifice a creature or we can pay it without paying its mana cost. Next one, we got Gonti Canny Acquisitor, and also we can exile the top card of the library and we can play it once it's exiled. We've got Mind's Dilation, which is playing other people's cards whenever they cast a spell. we've got Mnemonic Betrayal, which exile all graveyards and you're being able to cast one card. We've got a very interesting card called Opposition Agents, which pretty much fight with everyone else tutors when they try to look for land. You control and you choose what they find, what they look for, and then you are taking it under your control. We've got funny but very expensive creature called Silent Blade Oni. It's just fun. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can look at their hand and you can play anything for free. Next, we've got Vrexil, the Ryan's Deep. So another expensive creature. When deals combat damage to a player, you can cast instants or sorcery from their graveyard without paying its mana cost, and then that card's going to exile, which is also good because you help to get rid of their stuff. And lastly, we've got Ancient Cellar Spawn, which punish people with their life when you steal their cards. Token makers are just fun way just to fill your slots. You can feel free to skip them and add other cards if you want to. I just see a lot of value in those cards, so hear me out. Number 1, we've got Jadar. It's a 2-mana creature that consistently creates a blocker, which makes it harder to hit you, especially at the beginning of the game. Number 2, we've got Tasha the Witch Queen. This is Planeswalker, and whenever you cast a spell you don't own, you create 3 free Black Demon creature tokens. So yeah, each turn you can cast 3 to 5 of spells you don't control, which is like 3 to 5 demons. Also, you can, exile their sorceries or instants and you can play them without paying their mana cost. Next one, we've got Wand of Orcus, one of my most fun equipment because it's expensive, but once you put it on, you not only have a death touch, but also whenever you deal combat damage to a player, you create that many 2/2 zombies. Another alternative for Wand of Orcus is Scepter of Celebration, which gives you +2, trample, and whenever you deal combat damage to a player, you create that many 1/1 season tokens. Lastly, we have removals, and what I care the most is how to destroy enchantments that are blocking my commander, like Kenrick's Transformation, as well as how can I deal with creatures or artifacts that are indestructible, like Darksteel Forge. Number 1, Beast Within. Definitely we need that because we are able to destroy any permanent depending on the situation. Number 2, we've got Deadly Relic, and this is cool because when you have your commander, you don't have to pay mana cost and you can exile any creature, especially those that have indestructible on. Next, we have a Cross and Grip, and I like it because you can destroy Kenrick's Transformation that is on your commander, for example, without them being able to counter it. Next, we have something to help us exile things like Archdruid Charms or Ruinous Intrusion, help us to get rid of those indestructible creatures or enchantments that are pissing us off. The only board wipe I have in this deck is Deadly Tempest because I kind of like the idea of punishing my opponents for having a lot of creatures and I will have more likely less than them. Lastly, we have Aetherize, a very new spell that works really well against token deck, but also against somebody who wants total revenge, for stealing their old stuff. In anger they will throw everything they have, all the army going at you, and you just like that return it to their own hands, making them vulnerable, allow them to be killed easily. And now it's time for fun stuff. Let's go for YOLO incredible powerful damage. Number 1, we've got Calcification. It's an aura that gives you +20 and 20 and just tap your creature for 1 turn. So everyone have just 1 turn to deal with it, otherwise there is a deadly commander damage coming their way. Number 2, we've got Eldrazi Conscription. It just gives you +10/10, trample, and the worst, Annihilator 2. Nobody likes it, but hey, it's good for you. Number 3, we got Adaptive Omnitool. It doesn't look that strong, but it's an artifact that gives you +1/1 for each artifact you control. And you'll be surprised how many artifacts you'll end up having when you deal combat damage to a player and steal things from Kotis. But that's not only that, we have a few cards that give us a treasure token that additionally boost it up, so before you realize it's going to be +10/+10. Number 4, we've got Black Blade Reforge. It's a sick artifact, especially in the deck when you get +1/1 for each land you control, because we have a lot of extra lands to put on the battlefield, so it's good for us. Number 5, we've got Blade of Bloodchief, and you'll be surprised how fast your creature gets strong when everything else is dying on the battlefield. Number 6, we got Bone Sabres, and I know I talked about it before, but come on, putting 4 counters for every attack is something that we should not skip. Number 7, it's Excalibur, Sword of Eden, gives you +10/10 vigilance. It's kind of cheap to equip, especially if you steal a lot of artifacts, so why not? Number 8, we've got Hydra's Growth, and it's very strong because it gives you +1 counters, but then every single turn it doubles the counters you have. However, on commander you don't really need that much because it's going to be lethal anyway. Number 9, we've got Leering Emblem, and this card is very underrated, but because our mana curve is really low, it's about 3, we might be able to cast 3 to 5 spells each turn, especially in the late game we have a lot of lands, and that can instantly boost your creature to 10 plus 10 damage. Number 10, we've got Power Fist, and it goes the same. Every turn getting 4 to 5 counters, if not more, sounds just really good. Next, we spoke about it before, we got Predatory Hunger. Again, you'll be surprised how many creatures dies and you just keep pumping your creature like crazy. And lastly, we've got Belt of Giant Strength. For just 2 mana, making plus 10 is no-brainer as well for me. At the end, here is my arena deck. Now, bear in mind, I still don't have a lot of cards as I'm playing arena about 6 months probably. Also, I just started, so it might not be as strong, but just to give you a bit of insight, here it is, I made a video.